The desert stretched endlessly, an ocean of sand and silence beneath a bruised purple sky that never seemed to end. The world had gone still. No movement, no birds, not even the faint hum of passing cars. My gas gauge had been flirting with empty for almost half an hour, and the warning light blinked like a heartbeat in the dark. The last town was 40 miles behind me, a cluster of rusted buildings long forgotten by maps and men. The highway shimmered with mirages that twisted in the heat, even though the sun had already sunk behind the dunes. My tires hummed against the cracked asphalt, the only sound breaking the weight of the silence. And then, through the wavering air, I saw it, a faint flicker of neon light pulsing on the horizon. Weak but insistent, I slowed down, squinting through the windshield. The sign glowed in broken fragments, half-dead letters forming the word motel. Relief washed over me. Maybe luck still existed out here, in this wasteland of sand and ghosts. I pulled off the road, the crunch of gravel loud in the night. The headlights swept across a squat building, sun-bleached and peeling, with 6 rooms lined, in a row and a crooked palm tree, bent toward the ground, like it was tired of standing. The air smelled of dust and old gasoline. A flickering sign buzzed overhead, lighting the cracked pavement in a tired red glow. I noticed something strange. No cars in the parking lot, no sound of an air conditioner humming, no movement behind the drawn curtains. It looked abandoned, yet the office light was still on. The shadows it cast stretched long and thin across the lot. I stepped out, stretching my legs, the dry wind brushing against my skin like static. The moment my foot hit the ground, the world felt heavier, thicker somehow. I walked to the office, boots crunching softly, and pushed open the door. A bell above it gave a weak, broken jingle, a sound that seemed too loud in the silence. Inside, the air was stale. A man sat behind the counter, pale and thin, his eyes deep in his skull, but strangely gentle. He looked up slowly, as though he'd been waiting. "Long drive?" he asked, his voice soft and rough, carrying years of dust and something I couldn't quite place, like an echo. I nodded and reached for my wallet, but his gaze never left mine. "Cash only," he said, as if I should have already known. He slid a single key across the counter. The brass was worn smooth, the tag faintly etched with the number. "He's at room 6, end of the row," he murmured, voice lowering. "Stay inside tonight. Wind gets strange after dark." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. That's when I heard it, the faint hum of static. It was so soft at first I thought it was my imagination, but then it grew louder. The television in the corner had turned on by itself. The screen flickered black and white, images half-formed, shadows moving behind glass, shapes bending at impossible angles. I couldn't make out any faces, but I could feel them watching. The hum deepened, vibrating in my bones. I stood up, scanning for the remote. It wasn't there. My reflection caught my eye on the TV's surface, the bed, the peeling walls, the open door, and something else. Someone was standing behind me. I left the office, the sound of the bell dying behind me. The air outside had cooled sharply, the kind of chill that didn't belong in a desert night. The neon sign buzzed louder now, its light pulsing like a heartbeat. Room 6 was waiting at the far end, its door slightly open, rocking gently as if breathing. My pulse quickened. I stepped inside, and the air hit me like a wall, cold, dry, filled with the faint scent of rust and old rain. The wallpaper peeled in long strips, curling at the edges like dead leaves. A single bulb hung from the ceiling, swaying though no wind stirred. I set my bag down and sat on the bed. The mattress sagged beneath me, dust rising into the dim light. I turned fast, heart hammering, but the doorway was empty. Only the creak of the neon sign outside broke the stillness. When I turned back to the screen, my blood ran cold. The TV was showing me, sitting on the bed, staring at the screen. But in the image, there was a tall, thin silhouette behind me, still, featureless, rippling like heat on asphalt. I lunged forward and yanked the plug from the wall. The picture vanished instantly, but the hum didn't stop. It grew louder, crawling into the floorboards, rattling the glass, whispering through the air vents. Whispers filled the room. Dozens of voices overlapping, pleading, urgent, but none of them made sense. I covered my ears, but they were inside my head. Then as suddenly as it began, silence. The light steadied. The bulb stopped swaying. I sat down, shaking, trying to breathe. My mind scrambled for logic. Maybe exhaustion. Maybe a trick of the heat. I leaned back on the cold mattress and stared at the ceiling. The sound of my heartbeat echoed in my ears. My eyelids grew heavy. I don't know how long I drifted before. I heard it, the knock, soft, 3 times, even. I froze, breath shallow.
Who's there?
My voice barely rose above a whisper. No answer. The knock came again, a little louder. I stood slowly, my legs trembling, and approached the door. The peephole showed only blackness. My hand shook as I turned the knob. The door swung open on its own, creaking wide to reveal nothing. The parking lot was empty. The air outside was utterly still. But the neon sign at the far end now glowed bright red, each letter sharp and alive. It no longer read motel, it said welcome back. A chill ran through me so deep it felt like my bones turned to ice. I stumbled backward, my heel hitting the table. The key rattled violently, spinning in circles until it clattered flat. When it stopped, the brass tag no longer said Room 6. It said, check out 1974. I stood there, unable to move, my mouth dry. I turned toward the mirror on the wall, and there he was, the clerk from the front desk. His reflection stood behind me, smiling faintly, though no one was actually there. His eyes glowed faintly in the glass like embers under ash. The light bulb above flickered once, then again faster and faster, until the room was strobing with flashes of shadow and shape. The air filled with that low hum again, vibrating through the walls. I tried to move, but my limbs felt heavy, like the air itself was holding me in place. Then the whispers returned, layered, softer now, as though coming from far away. A woman's voice among them said, "You shouldn't have stayed." The neon outside buzzed louder, the sound swelling into a sharp whine. I ran to the door, but it slammed shut before I could touch it. The key on the floor slid on its own toward the crack under the door, vanishing into the dark. My breath came in ragged bursts as the lights dimmed to a single pulse, from the TV still unplugged, but glowing faintly. The screen flickered to life one last time, showing the motel sign outside. The letters shifted slowly, forming one final word. Goodbye. The light snapped off, plunging me into blackness. And then, for the first time, I heard the wind outside. It wasn't whistling. It was whispering, repeating the same word over and over. Stay. I closed my eyes and waited for dawn that never came. Somewhere outside, the neon buzzed one last time, and the world went still again.